welcome in, and we are going to get started. So, let me just say, so cool to have you guys here. You're watching the replay. Thanks for joining in. We are here. As I said, we're always in Suriname having a good time. Well, that's not true. I'm in Suriname for maybe the next month or so. Then after this, I'm going to get to the next country. But it's been really fun. What I'm going to be talking to you today, though, is about and why you should stay is how I actually retired in 7 years. I'm going to give you the full story so that you understand the context. Because I think when you give stories about someone who's done it before you, right, then you actually get to see, you know, you actually get to learn from somebody who's done it, right? As opposed to someone just talking on Instagram or YouTube, like, hey, I made it, here's my course, right? I'll actually give you the story. And let me just say, before we even start, I'm not selling you anything. I'm just on here to give value. And so, one of the things when it comes to learning and advancing is that what people keep saying repeatedly is that you have to start with mindset. You have to start with mindset. And here's actually how I changed my mindset practically. The first thing is that I read a lot of books. I read a lot of books. So when I just started reading, when I was younger, I was a reader. I used to read, like Charlotte's Web and Diary of a Wimpy Kid and Percy Jackson, all types of fiction books. Then eventually, what started happening was that I realized if I was to get to a level of financial freedom, I needed to actually read books that translated to skills. So I needed to read books like leadership, copywriting, networking, scaling, sales. I needed to read books about negotiation, right? These were very, very good books for me to read. So I started reading books about those things. That's where it started. Then after reading those books or through reading those books, I started to slowly change my mind. One of the best books I've ever read on changing your mind is Psycho-Cybernetics. Psycho-Cybernetics is one of, if not the best self-help book I've ever read. Psycho-Cybernetics shows you, it's like taking your brain apart, going in there like a mechanic and really fixing things. Because what a lot of self-help books will try to do is try to make you feel better, try to tell you, hey, you know, positive thinking, you know, go ahead and think the best thoughts, even if everything is falling apart, look for the opportunity. But these things are external, right? Try to find motivation from your childhood, surround yourself with good people. Yes, these things are all true, but they're all, for the large part, external. But if you are looking to really tune in to changing who you are, like your DNA, the core of who you are, that's psycho-cybernetics. And the way that you do that is that you go in and change the beliefs and the stories that you tell yourself. Change who you align yourself as inside. So that re-encodes your DNA. There's no book that does that as far as I'm concerned, but Psycho-Cybernetics is the best one. So the reason why I like Cybernetics more than any other book is because it's not slow. It approaches self-help and self-improvement and self-development from a scientific perspective. And so these are the things that you need to do in order to get the result of change. That's what it is. Not what you need to believe or affirmations that you need to say in the morning. No, these are the things that you need to do. And this is what you can practice doing in order to eventually end up with a changed person. That's Psycho-Cybernetics. That's the book I would recommend everyone to start believing in themselves. Because it's not really belief that you need. You just need to change the set of behaviors that hinder you from moving to the next level. Right? Mm. And if as a result you change those behaviors and then you get the result, then boom, you have changed. Whether or not you did affirmations or not, if you have a new set of behaviors, which is how you learn, if you have a new set of behaviors in the same context, if you're going through the same things and you have now new behaviors, you react differently, you say things differently, you think differently, then therefore you have changed, right? And in that specific context. Doesn't mean that you need to change your entire person. You just need to change yourself in these specific contexts, which is exactly what learning and growth is. So that's the first thing. Book, Psycho Cybernetics. Now, I'm going to pause here because I want some people to come in, but that was where it all started. Reading a lot of books, reading a lot of books, because books are pretty much the best thing that you can do in order to change who you are and change your mind and change your belief about how the world works. It's why every single millionaire reads. I have not met one millionaire who does not enjoy learning. Even if they're not reading, they're listening to books, they're listening to podcasts, but you have to take learning seriously, because growth happens when new information is brought forth, and then you can do something with new information, right? That's how it works. I want to make this good for the people who are watching the replay. However, I'm on live right now and no one's here yet. So totally fine, because I know that people are going to watch it back, and it usually gets replay value, which I love seeing, by the way. But I also do want to make sure that the live is also happening. So I'll stay on maybe for 5 more minutes. Actually, I'll just keep going. Okay. So what happens after you start reading? You have to take risk. A risk is, by definition, doing something you're not sure will work out. There are two stages of risk. The first is you must do something. A reading is not enough to make change. You can be a different person all you want, but if you don't do anything with the information, then you will not change. You actually have to do something. And that's where a lot of people get it wrong, because they will just read and read and read and read and feel good about reading. But that is what we call mental masturbation. You're not doing anything. You're not doing the actual thing. You're just feeling good. But that's not growth. You actually have to do something. So that's the first part of risk. The second part of risk is that you don't know whether or not it will work out. So first you have to do something, and there is no assurance that it will work out. Absolutely none. And that's the second part that people get confused of, because you're asking me to do something for a year, for 2 years, for 5 years, and you have no idea if it will work out. Yes, there is no assurance whatsoever that it will work out. Yes, that's what makes it hard. That's what makes it a jump, a leap of faith, because you don't know. And every entrepreneur goes through that. Building the biggest company in the world, you have no idea that it's going to get that big. When you started Apple in your garage, when you started Nvidia, when you started Tesla, when you started these companies, no one knows that it's going to get that big. Nobody knows. But that's what it's called, a leap of faith. You have to start and you have to jump. Now, what many people have a problem with is that they want an assurance. They want, mommy and daddy to come in and say, no, it's going to be worth it. It's going to work out. You know, I believe in you. And they want someone to come in and hold their hand. But that's the essence of risk. Hey, how you doing? That's the essence of risk. You don't know that it will work out. There's no one that's going to hold your hand. And it's very scary. So if you're going through and you're like, hey, how you doing? If you're going through and you don't know how it's going to work out, it's going to feel like you're lost. You might feel like you're wasting your time. There's some days that you're going to wake up and you're going to think, I just wasted an entire year. I don't know if I should keep going. Yes, every entrepreneur has those thoughts. I've just waited 5 years on this business. I've made progress, but it doesn't seem to be going as fast as I thought it would. Yes, every entrepreneur has those thoughts. This is normal because you don't know if it will work. There is no assurance. There's no guaranteed paycheck. There's nothing like that. That's what makes this hard. And so many people aren't used to that. That's why it's scary because most people are used to you think about, you know, when you're born with your parents, you have assurances, hey, food will be on the table, right? You'll be safe, you have a place to go to, no problem. Then you get to school, you have a schedule, right? You're told homework, etc. Everything is safe, everything is structured. Switching from that to having no idea whether or not something will work, whether or not you have class tomorrow or a business tomorrow, right? That's a very scary transition. You're not used to it, which is why if you don't practice that muscle of not knowing if something will work out, then you'll never get there. But that is the essence of risk. And I'm really harping on this because I know that when I was 15, you know, 15, 16, that was when I started my entrepreneurial journey. That was one of the hardest things. If you don't have a tolerance for risk, it's going to be very hard. It's going to be very hard because there are much harder things in running a business than just starting. Because once you start, that's when all the problems start. Don't believe everything that you see on social media. The 10% or the 20% that you see on social media when people are at the pool, like I'm at the pool now and stuff, it's very fun. The 10%, the 20%. But the other 80, 90% of the time, it's not glamorous. It's stressful. It's hard. You don't know if it's going to work out. There's a period of time where I was sleeping on a couch. Right? I remember being snowed in a snowstorm when we were looking at a building and we couldn't leave and there was no electricity, so it was very cold and there was no food because we thought that we would beat the snowstorm and we got snowed in. Have to just stay there. Car can't drive because it's a two-wheel drive, so we can't go anywhere. That happened in my real estate journey. Most people aren't prepared for things like that. But whatever you think will happen, whatever you think can happen, will. I'll give you another story. I remember I had a business that was entertainment company. We started this in college. And you know why that partially why that entertainment company went down? Friends and family sabotaged that company. That happened. And most people aren't prepared for things like that. Your own friends and family can sabotage what you are doing. And a lot of people can relate to that because it is scary. It is scary. And no one wants to think that their family could be the one that causes their dreams to waver or sometimes really significantly delayed. But as I said, if you're taking on cybernetics, then you'll change your belief about yourself. And the second thing is that once you get comfortable with risk, you know that it wouldn't work out. You know that there was a possibility that you couldn't work out. But here's the thing, the reason why people keep going is because of the possibility that it does, which is really significant. Because if it wasn't, if there was no reward, if it was all shit, then why would anybody do it? But if it does work out, so imagine all of the things that will happen. I get to buy my mom this. I'll get to travel here. I get to meet these people. I get to buy this car that I always wanted. I get to, these are the rewards. And no one guarantees those rewards. But that's the really good part about entrepreneurship. No one guarantees that. But that makes it so amazing that you have to keep going. So amazing that you have to keep going. So that is the part of it. You don't know it's going to work out. No one gives you a reward. No one is telling you, hey, if you come out and take this risk in 5 years, this is what you're going to get. No one says that. Absolutely nobody. But I will tell you, it is still worth it. All right, that's 15 minutes, guys. I am going to go and start my workout. So if you're watching the replay and you made it this far, leave a comment. Let me know that you are here, and I will respond to each and every comment that you leave. Okay. All right. Peace out, guys.